Happy Thursday morning, everybody, and welcome to Social Studies. What you need for today's lesson about the Erie Canal is the PowerPoint presentation that I emailed you earlier in the week. Everything else you need for this lesson is already embedded with clickable links inside the PowerPoint presentation. So ready? Here we go. The Erie Canal. So we had talked about canals and dams and the way that they flooded the waterways to get ships up and down to the docks before we went into this distance learning. So this should seem somewhat familiar to you guys. So let's introduce our learning target for today. I can learn about the Erie Canal by reading texts and answering questions. Very straightforward. So we're going to read about the Erie Canal, and you're going to write about what you think. You're going to write your answers on the graphic organizer, and then you send the graphic organizer back to me. So all you have to do is take your little clicker, and you hover right here over the blue, hold down the control button so you get your little hand, and you click it. When you click it, it will open up to a Google Docs document where you can type right into and answer the questions. Let me show you. Okay, when you click on that little hyperlink at the bottom of the first slide, it will open up to this Google document. It says the Erie Canal, and it says your name and the date, and all you have to do is click right where you want to type. So you can begin to write your name, and I can write today's date. All I do is just put my mouse right where I want to be, and I click. So the first question is asking you, what is a canal and what is the purpose? Then it asks, what can you infer? Ooh, here's that tough word, infer. You should remember what an inference is. It's taking what you know and coming up with a conclusion based on evidence and reason. Why do you think the Hudson River is important for the canal? Why would the canal be important for New York City? How did the Erie Canal change New York City? And finally, why is the Erie Canal no longer being used as a major shipping network? You can click right into these boxes and type your answer. So there's no need to print anything out. There's no need to get an extra piece of paper. You just open up the document, type right into it, and send me your answers. Let's come back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so here we are on slide 3. Slide 3 is asking you to read the Erie Canal song lyrics and answer the following questions. These are the first 3 questions that are in that Google document. So you're going to hover your cursor over where it says Erie Canal song lyrics and click, and it will take you to something that looks like this. When you click that link, you should get this, the Erie Canal song lyrics. So you're going to sit there and read through these song lyrics, starting from the top left, come all the way down, and then come across and read the second column. After you've read the lyrics from the Erie Canal song, you're going to go over to your Google document. Okay, now that you've read the Erie Canal lyrics, you can go ahead and answer question 1, what is a canal? Question 2, what is the purpose of a canal? And question 3, what can you infer about the Erie Canal from the lyrics of the song? Go ahead and answer those 3 questions now, pause the video, and then come back when you're finished. Welcome back. Okay, so now we're on the 4th slide of our PowerPoint presentation about the Erie Canal. Our 4th slide is asking us to look at the map of the Erie Canal and answer these 2 questions. So when you hover your mouse over where it says Map of the Erie Canal and hold down the control button, you're going to get a hand that will click. You click right onto where the blue is and it will open up to the map. And I'll show you. Okay, when you run your cursor over the map and click it, this is what should open up. So what you're looking at is a map of the Erie Canal. It says State of New York Barge Canal System from 1920. This, what you're looking at, is New York State. New York City is way down here. Notice this is Poughkeepsie. Here's Albany. And here's a lot of the towns that you'll recognize from our reading in social studies. Schenectady, Troy, Syracuse, Utica, Rochester, Buffalo, Ithaca even. All of these are towns in the state of New York. And what we're looking at, here's Lake Erie, here's Ontario, and if you look very carefully right here, this dark line is the Erie Canal, and it runs from western to eastern New York. Now that you've looked at this map, you're going to come back to your Google document. Now, based on the map of the Erie Canal, you're going to answer questions 4 and 5. Why do you think the Hudson River is important for the canal? Why would the canal be important for New York City? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the 4th and 5th question based on the map of the Erie Canal. Okay, welcome back. Now we're on the 5th slide of our PowerPoint presentation. It's asking us to read the National Treasure handout and answer the last 2 questions. So when you hover your cursor over National Treasure handout and you hold down the control button, you could click right onto this link and it will open you up to the handout. I'll meet you there. Okay, so when you click the link for the National Treasure handout, this is what you're going to get. So let's read this together. It says a national treasure. New York has long been a state of big ideas and the kind of can-do spirit that turns them into reality. Credit for this entrepreneurial attitude is due in part to a nationally significant treasure, the Erie Canal. Okay, hold on. Whoa, that was a tough word. Entrepreneurial attitude. Does anybody know what it means to be an entrepreneur? It's somebody who starts their own business. So they're looking at it as somebody who does something for themselves, the can-do attitude. And they're saying that it's because of this wonderful treasure that we have called the Erie Canal. Second paragraph. Built between 1817 and 1825, the original Erie Canal spanned 363 miles from Albany to Buffalo. It was the longest artificial waterway and the greatest public work project in North America. The canal put New York on the map as the Empire State, the leader in population, industry, and economic strength. So that meant we had the most people making things, and we had the most money going in and out of our economy than any other state. It's a really big deal. New York is pretty powerful. It transformed New York City into the nation's principal seaport and opened the interior of North America to settlement. That's a big deal, guys, because remember, we were getting things from the southern part of New York to the northern part of New York because we had the Hudson River, but we had nothing going side to side, which is why they built the Erie Canal, so we can go from east to west. Equally important, the Erie Canal became a central element forging our national identity, built with a combination of vision, determination, ingenuity, and hard work. The Erie Canal solidified these central elements of our American character. So let's read about the engineering marvel. Originally, Only 4 feet deep and 40 feet wide, the Erie Canal cut through fields, forests, rocky cliffs and swamps, crossed rivers on aqueducts, and overcame hills with 83 lift locks. Those were those things that we said were like water elevators, where they had one side open and they would flood the water in to raise the ship, and then open the other end to let the water out to sink the ship. Do you remember that in the textbook? Those were lift locks. The project engineers and contractors had little experience building canals, so this massive project served as the nation's first practical school of civil engineering. Some laborers were Irish immigrants, but most were U.S. born. For 8 years of wet, heat, and cold, they felled trees and excavated mostly by hand and animal power, mile after mile. Take a look at this picture. They didn't have all the modern machinery that we have now. They didn't have diggers and backhoes and excavators and cranes and giant machinery to do all this work. All this work had to be done by hand. And if they didn't do it by hand, they had some horses or some oxen helping them, but nothing like we have today. They devised equipment to uproot trees and pull stumps, and developed hydraulic cement that hardened underwater. Crazy, right? The 1800s, and they were developing cement that would get hard underwater. With hand drills and black powder, gunpowder, they blasted rock. Their ingenuity and labor made the Erie Canal the engineering and construction triumph of its day. It's really pretty impressive, guys. All right, meet me back at our Google document. Okay, now after reading about the invention, we're able to answer the question, how did the Erie Canal change New York City? And why is the Erie Canal no longer being used as a major shipping network? So go ahead and pause the video and answer these 2 questions now based on our reading. Great job, guys. So you should have read the National Treasure handout, read through the song lyrics, looked through the PowerPoint, and have answered the questions in the Google document. Make sure your name is on it, and you can send it to me by email, or you can take a picture for your classwork and homework credit. I will see you tonight on Zoom to answer any questions that you might have and to check in with you. See you tonight. Bye.